My true goal in my heart, which to this day is still true, was to introduce people to the comfort, the joy, the beauty of wonderful bedding and changing the way you sleep. I had always had, I think from very young teen, the idea that I wanted to be a retailer. I wanted to have a shop of my own. I started working in retail at 11 years old in a five and dime store. My father was a retailer, and I worked for him also. He was in the garden supply business, and I worked for him, and I always had a secret hope that he would leave me his store, but that didn't happen. I always had a passion for decorating from a very young age. I watched my mother wash white curtains with red blankets so she could have pink curtains. That too was color and textiles and patterns, and I was obsessed even as a child. I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. Absolutely, it was in my blood. When I started looking in Canada, I realized there was next to nothing available. It was very poor quality muslin sheeting made in Canada, and so we went to American trade shows. Nobody else was carrying these American linens, these very pretty American linens, so we would sell out like every single weekend. And so we ran out of merchandise, we ran out of choices so quickly, and then we heard about the trade shows in Europe. So that was the beginning. When we went to our first trade show in Paris, they actually wove in those days in France, and so you had these prints and beautiful quality and pure cottons and the down pillow with a cotton cover, and you just sank into this bed, and there was feather beds too. So you just sank into this, and I thought, oh my God, compared to what we're sleeping on, oh, such an unbelievable discovery. So we started importing our own fabrics. I was on an airplane on one of my first trips to Europe, and I was leafing through a British magazine, and I was reading an article about bed linens, and it said at one point, and so to bed. And I thought, French, we need to have French. So to bed, au lit, which is of the bed or on the bed. And I knew from that moment that it was brilliant. And we knew we had the name. At times I was terrified. I always thought in my head, what am I doing? What did I do? I did it anyway. It was always going to turn out. I just totally believed, because it was such a wonderful product. By that time, I knew it had to be textiles, duvets and pillows. It was the new look. It was, you know, the young Canadians were embracing this look. It was just a matter of finding the right locations. For me, in my head, everything was simple. And setting up beds and getting a bit of merchandise and just opening the door. The beauty of cotton is that it sells itself. There was just no comparison. The commentaries in my store when people came back and, oh, we can never sleep in polyester again, that's it. It was a success from day one, that first store on Saint Denis Street in Montreal. Mixing textures, that was huge. When I discovered how you could have all white and just mix textures, and it's breathtaking, that was a very important step. It's who I am, this crisp white shirt. I've been wearing these all my life. It's my favorite garment, and it gets translated into my work. That was probably my biggest, craziest undertaking of my whole career, is renting 6,000 square feet of space, buying machines and tables and hiring people. But luckily in those days there were wonderful, wonderful sewers in Montreal. I don't think the company would exist if we had not started manufacturing our own linens, because there was nothing available then. And it was huge. When I look back on it now, I can't believe I did it. But in those days, I was so driven that I would often sleep in the factory so I wouldn't have to waste time going home. I would work from 7 in the morning, I'd be turning the key in the door, and then at night there was no limit. If work had to be done, I just did it. It wasn't work. For me, it wasn't work. It was a dream come true. I created the perfect business for myself. I liked I was an entrepreneur. I liked the business aspect. I loved my product, and everything I did was driven by this passion. We moved to Toronto in 1995 when the referendum was announced. I had been thinking about it for years, but I loved Montreal so much. We loaded up everything we had and found a store in Toronto, and it's not something I rushed into. It's one of the few things that I really thought about and pondered, and it turned out to be the best decision I'd ever made for the company. We were so lucky that we seemed to attract the right kind of people. Nice people, kind people, helpful people. I've always tried to surround myself with people like that. Even to this day, I think we have the most wonderful staff of any store anywhere in the world. They just want to be helpful. It's not hard sell at all. It's the most soft sell that you could ever experience. It's just teaching people about quality and beauty, and they have to love the product as much as everybody does, and they do. They're attracted to the Oli product, and people make fun of me because whenever I hired people, I'd say, "Are you passionate about linens?" And they really had to be. We didn't set out to be a luxury brand. We didn't want to be the shishi-poo-poo expensive. We have always strived to be the best quality, the best aesthetics, the best service, the best education for the customer. And that is a concept that started 30 years ago and is still ongoing, and the success of the whole operation depends on that continuing. I think it's more than I thought it would be, because it's remained so beautiful with Joanna carrying on, and it's been carried through so beautifully, and it still retains that Oli look that everybody recognizes, and it thrills me. It absolutely thrills me. It surpasses my vision.